Hey, did your spring finals tickets go on sale?
No way, seriously?
For real.
The tickets are here! The tickets are here!
The tickets are here!
The tickets are here! The tickets are here! Did you get your tickets yet?
Welcome back to the LCS. I'm LeTigress, glad to be joined by Azael and all the fans here in the LCS arena. And in only 2 weeks' time, we'll be seeing even more of your smiling faces at the LCS Grand Finals in Houston. The best of the LCS will be battling it out on April 23rd and 24th. You can head to lolesports.com to find more info, get your ticket, or head to Ticketmaster directly. No matter how you do it, we can't wait to see you there. I've only ever attended an event with fans, either as a fan myself or a third-party reporter. It'll be my first time there with everybody in full effect, so I'm super stoked.
It's going to be really, really hype. I mean, it's been so long, and I don't think we've ever had an event in Texas. We were going to go to Texas right when the pandemic then hit, and it got canceled. So I know people are hungry for it. I'm excited to be there, too. It should be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, one of the 5 or so states I've lived in, so happy to go back home to a degree. But only one of these teams will have a possibility of attending Houston by the end of this series. Cloud9 are currently up 2-0, looking very much in form with what many Cloud9 stands would expect.
Yep, absolutely. Cloud9 looking really good. The question is, does Golden Guardians change anything? Do they change anything in the pick ban? Do they swap it up as far as the overall strategy? It felt like they wanted to go pretty heavy on dive, back-to-back Nocturne games, have a kind of flanking buddy to be able to create some sort of an advantage, punishing that backline. So far though, same bans in round 1 for both teams, so nothing going to be changing up there. Cloud9 could just go Lee Sin again. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think you just lock Lee and you make Golden Guardians show you that they have a different answer, because I don't really think you can justify going back to Nocturne once again unless you really want to pile in with something different. All right, so it is going to be Nocturne again, but it will be paired with the Ahri, which has been getting banned out in second phase. So they're changing up for Ablazeolive, giving him something a little bit more proactive. MF, Leona. So similar to game number 1 draft with the Ahri being different. What will Golden Guardians pair with this? Will they go an engaged support of their own and try to go full on dive? Because MF is pretty low mobility. Of course, you have a lot of move speed, but Ornn here, I think actually makes quite a bit of sense. I mean, you could ban GP second round. You could look towards some of those answers, and you've got a lot of ability to really try to punish this MF. You turn off the lights. You have the Ornn ulti. Anytime MF looks for a bullet time, you can interrupt that. In game 1, they did go Braum second round as an answer to the MF, but I also think you could just justify going additional engage and hard CC. Looking towards something like Zyra or even an Alistar.
Especially when you just want something that's going to be able to help you lock down when you have this Nocturne that you've been sticking with through and through.
Yep.
What is going to help you actually secure the kills after that initiation? So Golden Guardians making some responses to the earlier drafts, as you mentioned, Ahri being banned away in both game 1 and 2 in that second phase. So having that clear first pickup for GG, but Cloud9 consistency in their bot lane and their jungle from game 1. Ali banned away. They know that GG are looking for something in that support position.
Yeah, I think that they have the same read that I do, which is that Golden Guardians won't go towards the Braum again, or that they're not looking for that. Alistar was the one that comes to mind for me. If you want to ban out another engaged support, I think it's Rakan. You could look towards Thresh, but that's more of a follow-up type of champion. Rakan is the only other one really that I think Olleh has been playing that you have to be kind of a little bit concerned about as far as the engage does go. That could force him onto a defensive pick. So I think really good read, really good bans from Cloud9. And now the question is, does Olleh reach towards something that's a little bit more off meta for engage? Or is he just going to go Braum again and be kind of stuck with that more defensive option? Given that they have the Ornn themselves. Again, they don't necessarily need engage from that bot lane, but I do think having him on those aggressive champions really does suit his style. So Tahm Kench, a little bit more kind of like middle of the road. You can have a little bit of aggressive play. Of course, you can look for the W's forward, but it's more there to really keep whatever AD they go for safe. But 5th pick AD is super uncommon. So like I'm curious if there's a pick that they are reaching for, if they're saying, hey, like, if X and Y happen, we could go Draven or something really aggressive. Because otherwise you would think that you would just want to hide the TK, because TK is not getting picked away, right? So to me, this says, you have some sort of situational pick that you are at least considering.
And even throughout the latter portions of the
Let's go
regular
GP.
season, when we did see some expansion in that AD pool, but still somewhat limited to a degree.
Okay.
The GP was banned in game number 2. It was traded out for the LeBlanc game, or the LeBlanc ban rather, here in game number 3. So picked up once again for Cloud9.
So it is literally game 1 for Cloud9, the exact same draft. There is changes over on the Golden Guardian side. Hovering the Ashe would give them another go button here. I do think that would be interesting. You know, it doesn't feel like that situational of a pick that you need to hide. Okay, this is what I was thinking, is that there had to be some sort of reason that they're looking to hide it. So it's going to be a farming Tahm Kench, almost guaranteed. This will be support Senna or fasting Senna, whatever you want to call it, but it should be Olleh farming. It is really, really strong right now. You know, the highest win rate bot laner in the game as far as solo queue goes is actually Tahm Kench as the farming champion. And it's because specifically of this pairing. You're looking for the pass-through queues. You have backline access with the Senna ulti to be able to kind of act as that dive buddy for the Nocturne. Nocturne dives in, Ornn comes through, Ahri's diving back. You ult across there, give the shield, get that bonus bit of damage in as well. And you have more pseudo frontline here with Tahm Kench, who will actually get a lot of gold in this one as the farming champion. So it's going to be an interesting game here. Golden Guardians has a lot of scaling with the Ornn and the Senna, but GP, Viktor, also really, really powerful. And I think that Cloud9 is going to be much stronger in the early skirmishes, given that they have Lee Sin and Leona.
Cloud9 were the ones making a bit more adaptation going into game number 2, but reverting back to the strategy they had in game 1. Golden Guardians on their last footing to stay within this series. They bring out some new picks. We'll see how it goes. All right, Golden Guardians fans, stand behind your team, send them your energy, because Cloud9 are knocking on that door, trying to close it. Oh, classic.
You call for the Golden Guardians cheers, they're like, nah, don't think I will.
The unison in that was really impressive.
The TSM chance, always a classic at the LCS studio. 5-man bot here for Golden Guardians, wanting to try to play for Vision again. But this time, it's just a line of scrimmage for Cloud9. They are spread out across the map. They don't want to fall prey to any sort of a crazy early invade. It is a sweeper swap here. So, okay, so Isles goes out. He actually has one early ward that he plays. So, you know, this ward was Isles to try to prevent any sort of shenanigans there. And then he actually just based and got sweeper. So he's going to try to use that to play for brush control. Lost doing the same thing, drops his ward in bot for that side brush control and does go sweeper. And as I was expecting, again, it is going to be the fasting Senna, support Senna, whatever you want to call it. Lost is piloting it. But starting with the Spectral Sickle there, so he will not be farming. Your job, you know, as the Senna in this lane is to very heavily harass the enemy champions, right? It's so much about the pass-through queues. That's where you get tremendous value, and that's why Senna really likes these melee pairings for this lane. Because as Tahm Kench walks up to CS, you queue through Tahm Kench to heal him. You also hit the enemy champions, and you really want to try to be consistent like that. And a lot of ADs are very good at it because it's extremely similar to what you're doing with Lucian queues, right? So we'll see how well he can do this. As the first one going to be a swing and a miss, and they're going to try to get a little bit of damage down. It is Comet MF. This time it's a bit of a change because Berserker in game 1 did do tier, which is kind of the more greedy start, I would say. This time it's Longsword 3-pot because he knows he's going to be getting poked back by the Senna.
That's something that you do always have to worry about, the poke, the duality of the sustain through, things like that, piercing darkness. That is why you want to see Senna with something like a Tahm Kench, why this has become so normalized, because you have someone that can harass alongside you, that can really capitalize upon that poke that you dish out. But Cloud9 are wary of that.
Absolutely. I mean, Tahm Kench is very tough to push out. He's going to go second win. He's starting D-Shield, and you also have all that sustain there from the Senna. Nice little sides up on the barrel there from Summit. But again, you think back to game number 1, Summit was pounding Licorice early, you know, in this lane. So we'll see if Licorice can play it a little bit more defensively. Just try to make sure he's at least getting the farm at the tower. A tower shot plus the brittle proc is going to make things much more dangerous now for Summit. So he's going to have to play it a little bit more defensively, but still, Licorice just needs to stay healthy to be able to pick up this farm when it comes to the tower, because you're going to get harassed on the melees. You're really going to get harassed on those range creeps. But just trying to whittle him down and force him back to an early base. We'll see if he can get it done.
Keep those losses to a minimum. You will be tracking that throughout this laning phase. Blaber just clearing through his jungle, Pridestalker on the opposite side. And it's the same story we have discussed before with Nocturne wanting to farm up, and then Summit and Licorice still continuing to want to take that dueling style, something they both like to lean into.
I mean, Licorice has him low, but you've got to make sure that you have enough to actually farm up this wave, right? Because this is the big deal, is if you can't actually collect this wave, that's where you really get punished hard. So Licorice, nice sidestep. He should be fine now. Summit's not going to hang around too long. You probably just want to take your base here pretty soon, I would assume. But doesn't quite have Sheen Gold. I'm not sure if he's playing. Let's check. Let's see if he's playing Future Mark. He's not. So he does need to stay around to actually get at least the 700 gold, which he's not quite at just yet. And on the balance, it does get, again, kind of risky here for Licorice, because a lot of the lane is about your trial by fire. It's about the passive usage here. You know, pretty much any time you do have that ready to go, you want to get that true damage auto down for the burn.
And game number one, that's something that Summit did definitely do pretty well. So you can expect some more of the same here in game number 3. But the bot lane, a bit of that different look that we mentioned with Berserker and Isles still sticking with those same picks. Isles looking to him to be able to offer that engage in the later portions, keep Berserker safe on this MF that does have that limited mobility. So there's no potential dives or some troublemaking or roughhousing early.
Yep, gonna be looking to try to defend him as much as he can. Summon again, just pushing in. Pridestalker, I don't think he's going to try to go for any sort of a gank because they don't know where Lee Sin is. They actually haven't had eyes on Lee Sin for a while, excuse me. As I'm proven wrong, I didn't see that under the Lee Sin icon on the mini-map. But looking down the bot side.
Down your bot, Isles looking to trade a stun up onto the Catfish, which ushers a flash away. Make it rain from Berserker, gets the slow. Another stun up onto Olleh, but the Q's not going to hit hard enough yet from Berserker. Lost with some decent poke of the Q, but Blaber is here if he needs to assist.
Yeah, I mean, look at Olleh's health already. I mean, all that regen, he pops his potion, you know, has second wind, has the D shield, so healing back up. All those summoners expended, you know, there's still flash on loss, so they are going to have summoner advantage down on that bot side. All this farm will be able to be collected. At the very least, though, they do get the shove and kind of indexing towards early power. So Berserker doesn't even grab a tier on his first base. He just goes towards that serrated dirt, wants to be strong in lane. They clearly want prio on the bot side. Both of these first 2 games, they have grabbed an early first dragon because it is Lee Sin versus Nocturne, because bot lane had to have push. So they're trying to emulate that here once more. And we'll see if they're going to be able to do so.
Before Pridestalker gets the opportunity to hit level 6, you nix this dragon, take it for yourselves. Cloud9 continuing with the first dragon blood that they have before. And this time, and we've seen sometimes Golden Guardians start to contest it a little bit, but they notice to keep back.
Yeah, exactly. Usually they've been contesting around second dragon. First one has pretty much been going over pretty simply to Blaber. So he's probably gonna have to flash here. Doesn't have a ward, so no ward hop available for him. Will be the flash expended, but still not that big of a deal. You do get that down. Wave is bouncing out towards them. The early pickaxe from Lost means very likely it's gonna be on hit, not lethality for the Senna. So expecting it to just be that kind of standard on hit build. And generally, once you actually complete your full support item, Olleh doesn't necessarily need the farm in the later stages. So you can start to give some farm over to the Senna as well to kind of keep your progression going if you're not getting a lot of kills. Because as soon as you finish off the Spectral Sickle, you get that 1k income. Your gold really does start to slow down unless you're getting a lot of fighting or potentially picking up some kills yourself.
And at this very moment, Pridestalker finally does hit 6. So a more looming threat that Cloud9 has to be aware of.
There's no sums on Cloud9's bot lane, so they are trying to potentially punish this. Ablazeolive, he's popping the ult. They're gonna dive. They're gonna dive 100%.
Yeah, he activated the Spirit Rush already. Paranoia comes in. Blaber is here and is the first to be targeted by the Nocturne. A big ol' blast. Ablazeolive getting first blood here. Olleh's life is traded in the process, but Cloud9, they retreat on that one.
Oh, but he's looking for more. He doesn't see him. The charge!
Ablaze, he's still here. The Orb of Deception. A good sidestep for Blaber, but it's not enough. Oh, moly. 3 kills total here on the bot side.
Ablazeolive, nice play there. He got the additional charge on his ulti off of their kill, and he's held on to it so long. Blaber was not expecting him to actually be there still. Ends up being the 2-for-1, 4 Golden Guardians. Nice play. They will deny a bit of farm to Berserker. Not a massive advantage by any means, but still a good play made. Pridestalker, the base gets stopped, so that is a little bit annoying, and Blaber just going to be pathing back towards bot, clear up towards top. But the fact that that got delayed means someone just plays in his face, right? Like, there's no threat of any sort of a gank. You do have to be respectful, though, if there's a roam top. And Ahri's even kind of moving out of base, like, inching towards top here, so if someone were to stay around, they could look, because the spellbook is actually swapped over to Ignite now. So when you're post 6 as Ornn and you have the Ignite available, it is very dangerous. We can see it again. Roccat flipped the switch, replay here, down towards the bottom side, repositions, lands the Charm, route to follow. They kill off Isles very quickly. Olleh was tanking that tower though, and Blaber gets him with the Q. And then this is just smart stuff here from Ablazeolive, hanging around, waiting it out, had that additional charge of the Charm. Good ward hop from Blaber to dodge that pullback of the Q, but the flash in with the W from Ablazeolive gets them the second kill. Both of the kills went to Ablazeolive. So it's... Okay, that's a good tweet. That's a good tweet.
Good one.
That's a good tweet.
Pat on the back.
Yeah.
I loved the killing nature that Ablazeolive came in there with, though. The same way that, you know, the same way that the stats are. I mean, Senna, that's just the big story of Senna, right? And in the end, the trouble that we all face with such a champion.
19-4, that little side pop just said, I think, for Olleh playing Senna TK. I think he said that was back in the TL days, you know, when he was playing with Doublelift. I think they used to play that quite a bit when he was winning championships with TL. So definitely a really strong pick. Has been really powerful in LCS in general. You can think back to you know, the Senna TK, Senna Taric, like these types of lanes, you know, Zona Taric, you know, these types of kind of farming lanes were quite powerful.
If it works, it works.
Yeah, and this is the first game I think Golden Guardians did actually get first Herald. So going to be able to use this, potentially grab first power this game, which would be really nice for them.
Yeah, grab that up, see if they can start pressuring some of these lanes. In the end, Fudge up and CS over towards mid, but Ablazeolive was making those rotations across the map, so you do expect it in that regard and trying to find his power elsewhere, still sitting on those 2 kills that he had acquired as well.
Yeah, the big problem for Golden Guardians is just the advantage at topside, right? You know, you look at a 30 CS advantage, it's okay to fall a bit behind. You do not want to be down 30 CS plus a plate this early on. Pridestalker has not been up there. In game number 1, you know, it was similar advantage that someone was able to create, but Pridestalker got up there for a couple ultimates and they killed off Summit twice. So we're gonna have to see if they can actually replicate that sort of success. Otherwise, Summit really can start to run away with it in that 1v1. You know, he already has the early Essence Reaver here. The CDR, you know, plus the mana return, very, very big. Gonna make things difficult for Licorice in this 1v1 for sure. And anytime they can get eyes on this Nocturne, it's gonna mean he can push up, he can play aggressive in their face. That's why Isles and Fudge here are trying to move around, see if we can get any sort of an idea of where this Nocturne is.
15 seconds until that next Drake spawns, so Summit and Licorice still bringing that power towards the top.
Oh,
a smash through the flash! Oh my goodness, both ultimates expelled here, but no lives lost
and
just yet.
And we gotta look back, because Pridestalker is here. I think they had the read though, the lane ward there from Cloud9 should have spotted them out, but instead they're gonna just start up the dragon now. They have their ultimates available, so won't be a contest. Cloud9 just going to take the trade. They grab that first dragon, just going to continue farming. Will be that push up on the top side.
And that cannon barrage was used by Summit up there as well, so that gives a little extra indicator for Golden Guardians when you're worried about kind of those abilities that can rock your world from the opposite side of the map. But that evenly splits the dragons this time.
Yep, 1 apiece so far. We can go back to this 1v1 again. The barrel chain does land, and he gets a passive auto, so he's burning pretty hard. Licorice is getting roasted. But if that connects and he lands the Ignite, you get the additional brittle proc. That can actually turn in his favor, so I do think it's a good flash from Summit. There is potential for that to be turned around and be a 1v1 there by Licorice. But really, you can only threaten him when you have Ignite. So with the Ignite rotated through on the spellbook, it's very difficult now to have any sort of a kill threat without your jungler up there. And this time, at least, you know, Summit has had the timing, and Pridestalker has been more playing towards bot, you know, trying to get this Senna TK lane ahead and try to use that as kind of their focal point. So it has meant Summit can play pretty much as aggressive as he wants, but without flash, I feel like Pridestalker should go up there and they should try to get a kill.
Try and follow up, even though, yes, it's a narrow window of that opportunity for that kill pressure with the Ignite, but you did still get something out of it, and maybe Pridestalker can turn that into a more thorough advantage.
Yeah, I mean, Ornn's gonna have ulti in like 20 seconds. Pridestalker, if he heads up and the wave is actually pushing out, double ultimates, you should kill him, Ignite or no. If your jungler's there, no flash on GP if he's pushed up. But instead, again, looking down towards bot here, they're gonna go.
Paranoia activated once again. The solar flare here to respond, flash forward, and the fear lands onto one, but the rest have to go.
Ahri's coming though.
Yeah. This
Look behind
time,
the tower.
Spirit Rush now activated. Once again, to position to get Berserker. Not gonna land with the charm, but does get the Orb of Deception on the opposite side. Burned down, but still alive. Oh yeah, Olleh, jump him on up with the Devour to keep him out of the range of Fudge. He throws down the Chaos Storm, and now Ablazeolive, a little bit of healing coming out for the Senna as well. Good play from Golden Guardians.
Yeah, really well played there. Again, Ablazeolive willing to drop waves to make the move down towards bot side, and C9 actually showed a lot of respect to that. They had a pretty good read on what was going on. They pulled back very early. It looked like it was going to be a bit of an overforce, but Ablazeolive making lemonade out of lemons. They're finding the play, barely surviving, and they are going to crack mid, for at least a couple plates here. Get those down. Charm does land. It's just going to be the 2 plates, though, and now 3 kills, all of them over on Ablazeolive. He is in a position to potentially carry this game. He's good 800 gold up on mid lane. They get a plate off of bot, and when you get the push as Senna, you get so much gold with that support item there. Being able to farm that off the tower is really nice.
And Golden Guardians being rewarded for locking the Ahri to avoid the potential ban from Cloud9. Put that into Ablazeolive's hands as the Everfrost completed, and really bringing that power towards that bot side so that Lost and Olleh can really get online.
It is a bit of more of the pseudo-supportive style, though, so we'll see. There's no ulti on TK, so they're going to have to be careful here.
Cannon Barrage used to make sure they can't go any further, and the Solar Flare to follow. In the end, Azael goes in. Olleh, last one standing. Bullet time from MF. The tail end of it will land. Catfish hooked onto it. Cloud9 trade back.
Nice counterpunch on that back play. Down to the bottom side, Blaber finding that kick flash onto Olleh. They land all the stuns from Isles there onto Lost, so they get multiple kills. Lost was dead to rights. He thought Olleh was out scot-free, and I think that's why he didn't actually commit his heal. In the end, had he committed that heal, maybe Olleh does survive the very end of that. Golden Guardians, though, trying to make a counterpunch up towards top side. Getting some damage down on this tower. There is no plate available to grab, but they are knocking this down here pretty quick, but with Blaber arriving, Golden Guardians will have to retreat.
Over a minute's time past that plate time, so Blaber's presence alone able to get them off of that, as most keep back to their lanes. We've seen a lot of times Lost and Olleh, when they return, they come towards this mid side to see exactly where they want to rotate from here. A timer on the clock for the top side objective, and you know that Golden Guardians have their eyes on it, pinging away.
That's really interesting. So Berserker, I think, is just full skipping tier. He's just not going to go tier at all this game. So, just rushing as much lethality as possible. Does mean in extended plays can be a little bit difficult. You can definitely go out of mana, as MFE especially is quite expensive. So we'll be interested to track if that ends up becoming a problem, if they have any sort of an extended Dragon or Baron dance. But for now, he's going to be a lot more powerful. A lot of early armor pen purchased up, and people like the Senna, like the Ahri, no armor to speak of, are going to get shredded by this. And maybe a fight over this second Herald. This is where it went so bad for Golden Guardians in game number 1, and Cloud9 are in the area. They have GP ulti, they have MF ulti pretty soon.
Everyone is here. Everyone is ready. Rift Herald is chunked down to 50%. This means Licorice wants to go for it with the ultimate, gets the double knockup. And in the backline, that Cannon Barrage, it makes cheap GG have to usher on forward. Kick on to Licorice, gets stunned up, gobbled up. Can he get spit out for some additional
MF
effect
ulti is
on
up
this?
now.
You're gonna lay it down. Berserker could be the one to try and turn this on the low HP guards of Golden Guardians. Even puts down the Make It Rain prior for additional slow. So Ablazeolive has been eliminated from this. Support still lost from Cloud9, so they want to come up forward. Licorice flashes out, but it's a little bit of a panic because Fudge is there too and can get him with that range. Cloud9 coming out on top in the fight means that they don't only take down this turret in the mid lane, they can keep their eyes on this Rift Herald.
Yeah, and Golden Guardians just forcing so heavily for these second Heralds, but it's such a low value objective at this point in the game. I'm not sure why they feel the need to fight for it so heavily, unless they just think, hey, we should win these 5v5s. But the shutdown onto Ablazeolive, multiple kills, going to be going Cloud9's way, and they'll get the Dragon off this. Herald not even going to be claimed. It's a big win there for Cloud9. They're able to buy enough time. Berserker gets his ulti back. It's a really well-played fight, and you can see the frustration on Ablazeolive's face, in that player cam. They realize that their chances are slipping away fast in this series. It's match point here for Cloud9, and they are now down thousands of gold. We can watch this one more time. I mean, Cloud9 just wants to wait it out. There was about 20 seconds or so, I think, remaining on the MF ulti. The cooldown timer there lies to you a little bit. You can see it's moving faster than it should. But they go in on the initial play. The charm not quite connecting onto the backline. It does actually land on Leona. They get the early kill, but that's all your cooldowns kind of used to kill off that Leona. Someone's getting work done on the side. The charm does connect there onto him. He gets so low, and the safeguard just barely saves him. And then now Berserker has his ulti, so he's just kind of looking for the angle, moves forward, goes to the right side, and what that does is actually creates the space for Fudge and Blaber to move in, because the 3-man squad that was on the right couldn't actually move through that MF ulti to assist their teammates. It allows Fudge to get a couple kills and kind of right back to where he was in game number 1. Off that one fight, he got a quadra. This time he gets a double, but really with the early farm and that now double kill, Fudge is in a great spot to take over.
And because of the way that he and the rest of Cloud9 able to play that and Summit just throwing down his ult and going immediately over towards mid for that objective, and now back over towards the Rift Herald. GG on it again.
Ablazeolive has a flank though. He can actually find something.
They gotta be worried about getting to the pin. Look at that damage onto Lost. So strong, and even going right into it, Pridestalker manages to take out Berserker here with the rest of the squad. Lost has to flash over the wall of the pit
on the wrong side
to get out of it. Comes on through with the Dawning Shadow for something. Ablazeolive flashing away, avoiding the E of Leona. So he's gonna stay on this map for now, but in the end, that Rift Herald's drawing a lot of attention. Pridestalker isolated by Blaber, wanted to retreat, just wanted to get out of this one, but he couldn't.
Yeah, again, it's just right back to the Herald. Golden Guardians just are adamant that they need this objective, and they get punished so hard. 2 lost team fights over second Herald. It's so low value. I mean, yeah, it does about half a tower's worth of damage, but there's no plates available. They're losing fights in this area. They get punished so much for it. Insult to injury, Cloud9 are going to be the ones to walk away with the Herald here. And now 3K, the gold lead for C9, can move themselves to Soul Point here in about 2.5. They've got everything going their way. The item completion is coming through. You can see 2 items done for multiple members as the TP will dissuade any sort of a dive, but at least that was forced, so not a bad trade there from Ablazeolive.
And that's a very popular bug-like. How would you describe Rift Herald?
I don't know.
What kind of creature?
Like a crab, a really big crab kind of thing?
Yeah, they just really want to
Sea
domesticate
creature.
the crab, street creature. Like, I just really want to put this into my arsenal. Just really, I got a tank ready for it at home, But
they're looking for it. They're just not finding it. And I mean, they've gotten slammed on some of these Herald fights. It's cost them a lot. But I mean, you have Senna, you have Ornn. Maybe they just feel like, hey. And my guess is that Ablazeolive feels really strong and feels like they need to fight now because he is playing Ahri. He is playing a little bit more of a kind of early game style build here. Going Everfrost CDR boots. He's going towards the Zonia. So he's ready to scrap. And I think, their read is that they should just win 5v5. And they're using the Herald as a way to force that action. The problem is when you lose out, well, the GP is now going to be ahead of you. The Viktor is now going to be ahead of you. And they're going to try to look for a pick here mid.
knock up onto one. Isles drops down the ulti. Coming on through with a Berserker follow-up as well.
Oh, the
Gets
charm.
chunk down. Paranoia right there into the back, so in the end, Berserker's taken out of it. Blaber's made his way here too. Sees if he can keep them away. This tower is low, but they can't finish it off. They don't quite have a wave.
Ablazeolive has been playing a really good game though. Didn't grab that kill, but was actually the one landing the charm. Nocturne ulti comes through on a Berserker. Berserker has been dead a lot this series. He has been getting picked off. They've been drafting for dive. They have been able to be pretty effective with that. It's just that the rest of the fight has been tough because when you commit all your resources to actually killing off the marksman, you're ignoring Fudge, who is playing this super high damage mage here as the Viktor, and GP as well. Like, there are just massive threats on Cloud9's side that you can't ignore, but Golden Guardians, their comp kind of makes them.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Berserker's just been the bait for a lot of this series. Truly.
I'm build tank.
They have a lot of other members on this team that have been able to follow up. And yes, when you go into that ult right here, though, Ablazeolive doesn't have this. Now it just comes up right now, but out of the stasis, he starts to activate it. Look at that range that Fudge always hits with the Death Ray. It's just good at securing, and all it goes down.
They can actually get 2 towers here because no one on Golden Guardians is, even on this side of the map, everyone is down on these other waves. You can see the bot lane now is trying to move up to defend that tier 2. Tier 1 is gone for sure, but they could even push this in. Instead, they're just going to use it to draw members top and go down towards the dragon. You can see pings from both teams down there, so Herald will get ignored. It will get a charge off on top lane for free. LeTigress trying to get up there to stop, of course, will not be in time, but Cloud9 also have first move towards Dragon. looks like this may just be gone as well, unless they want to TP and Licorice right now, but it's too little too late. So Cloud9 move to Soul Point here, very close to securing this series. Nearly a 5,000 gold lead. If you get Soul on top, that's a good another 4,000 or 5,000 gold worth of stats. Like, it is just a massive disadvantage.
At 23 minutes, while some moments are different, there are a lot of similarities between Game 1 and Game 3. Cloud9 having finished that one in, I believe, just over 28 or so minutes time.
Yep.
See if they can snowball.
Yep, we'll have to see if they can close this one out quickly. Lost the check-in on him. A bit over 60 stacks on the Senna, so 69 at this point. Does have the third range upgrade there on the Senna, so trying to be that threat. Of course, did go on hit as expected. Kraken Slayer has been purchased up, but has been picking up a little bit of farm. You know, since then, you can see he has 40 CS. Of course, not playing Relic Shield support, so you would be picking up very, very little farm normally. But at this point in the game, you can start to pick up farm and really try to keep that item progression going, because they do need threats, and right now they're kind of sorely lacking. It's just Ablazeolive that feels like much of a threat in any of these team fights.
Licorice at level 13, able to forge away a tad. Golden Guardians looking at what can work for them. Another ultimate, which is responded to immediately by the Berserker ultimate. Again, teleport coming in from C9 side. Fudge and more showing up to the party. The lockdown attempted onto Olleh, but he can still retreat all the while. Cloud9 still in pursuit, and Pridestalker going into the back to land onto Summit. Goes and gets resurrected immediately after, but he's just targeted by Cloud9, which allows the isolation over here. Licorice and Ablazeolive completely separated. Blaber just wants one more hit onto Olleh, plucks the tails from his feather, and there you go. Cloud9 coming on through. Olleh just sitting in the base here. Golden Guardians falling apart.
4 for 0, Cloud9. They're gonna get mid-tier 2. They're gonna move it over to Baron and grab that as well. 7,000, make it 8. The gold lead here, so close to taking down Golden Guardians.
My goodness. This is easy peasy for them to burn this right now. 8K in the books. Lots of Cloud9 pressure across the map, and then these team fights just look like they're able to play the early stages so well. They see Ornn coming through with a call of the Forge God, and from there on, close it.
I mean, it's just a great MF ulti. They're trying to set up a dive, but the wave is insta-cleared. You can't dive through that. GP ulti and MF ulti, you cannot fight through that. So Golden Guardians immediately have to just go into retreat. But Pridestalker, you know, he gets junked really, really low, pops the ulti defensively, tries to look for a way out on Summit, but he goes down, loses at GA, and Blaber is just hitting every single Q here, not allowing them to ever get away. You know, biding his time, going in, challenging Spite down, just slowing them up. As the rest of the squad comes around, they finish up the kills. Just great team fighting here from Cloud9. They've been a class above in this series thus far, and they are looking to close now. Could find a pick potentially here.
Running into Lost and Olleh here in the jungle side. Teleport coming in through the brush from Licorice, who immediately retreats to the rest of the team. They do collapse upon Isles and Berserker. The beam coming through from Lost here. They've taken down the ADC, but they've done that again. They've taken down the support once
Fudge
again.
is untouched.
Oh, Olleh, he's in some trouble right now. Fudge still nice and healthy. Does get sliced a little bit by Lost, who has increased his range. Gets knocked up here by Licorice, who comes into the backside. Blaber going and isolating multiple members of Golden Guardians. Olleh is his next target. It's gonna be a Bud Light ace for Cloud9.
And they're gonna look to try to push for a win here. They have the Baron, but 14 on Pridestalker. Do they go back and try to play it safe here, or do they go for the Nexus? They're positioning forward. We'll see how far they want to go now. They're just gonna take the inhibitor. They're gonna back it up, spend their gold, play for this soul. They know they are so close to being able to secure the CIE is completed. Again, luxury items coming through. Every fight just starts with Berserker dying. You kind of got to feel bad for him, but we'll have the stopwatch ready for the next one. They get the initial kill again on a Berserker. Our team fighting this, you know, pretty well, but they just don't have the same level of sustained damage. They spend all their spells, they kill off the AD, they kill off the support, but Fudge is full health. Summit is near full health. And yes, they have a little bit of turn here, but the AoE damage coming through is just massive, and the amount of sustained DPS that Fudge can put out is far beyond what the rest of the Golden Guardian squad can do. They pile through, get the rest of the kills here, take an inhib. And Berserker, I mean, he's just like, all right, yeah, it's a 4v5. Yeah, good job, guys.
I am the sacrificial lamb of Cloud9 in this game.
You don't always have to be the carry. You don't.
Nah, you don't. And here might be just a good fight if they try to go for a Licorice, though. Throwing it down, lost. Look at how hard that hits when Summit goes for you. Summit separated from the rest of the team intentionally, though, zoning off Golden Guardian so they can bring this Baron Power onto the turret, onto the inhibitor.
Ultis are all missing. They can just keep going.
They are committing towards it. Still something in the arsenal of Cloud9 if they want to continue pushing the go button right here. They take down one turret. A nice lockdown onto the single member of Cloud9, though, but Blaber, he still survives. He manages to get in the back.
Look at Fudge, he's roasting him.
They take down Licorice. They want to keep their eyes on Golden Guardians to wipe the rift clean of any bleeding gold that you may see.
Go for the Venta!
Come on, Fudge, we believe in you. The rest of the team is behind you, but they got their eyes on the Nexus. They want to close it. That's a playoff wrap for Golden Guardians. Cloud9's lower bracket dreams are still alive.
28 minutes, 21-9, very similar to game number 1, including the incredible performance from Fudge. 907, the Fudge factor was fully in effect today. Crushed Golden Guardians across all 3 games, 2 Viktor games, a LeBlanc game. The adjustments from Cloud9 looking really, really good. The GP, the Ornn coming through from Summit, that was strong. Some different looks here in the bot lane, trying to play a little bit more of a lane-dominant style with the Covenant map, with the Caitlyn Lux. And I mean, Fudge and Blaber were just incredible, and Golden Guardians just didn't feel like had the answer when it came down to the team fights, right? You know, it was close in the early games, but Cloud9 was always out executing them. You know, round Herald in these 5v5s, they always just kind of had a little bit something extra.
So much talk about Summit on Cloud9 throughout the year, and you gotta remember, you got a multi-Honda MVP in Blaber.
Yep.
You've got Fudge, who not only made exponential gains in the top lane last year, but has been growing rapidly and made it onto All-Pro in his first year as a mid laner. And all the secrecy around what is he doing in his practice time, what's going down, I feel like we got to see some of it today.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely played amazing. I think a lot of people are going to be looking forward now to seeing, you know, what their next matchup will be. Obviously, e.g. FlyQuest playing tomorrow. You know, whoever comes out of that, you know, can Cloud9 take that win, and then they would, you know, have to kind of make that run, you know, through the lower bracket, which is really exciting when it happens. Obviously, G2 doing that over in Europe, making the lower bracket run, and Cloud9 kind of known for some of those heroics as well.
Well, and even with the moving parts on Cloud9, right? It's a lot of different players, but you still remember that the gauntlet runs, the lower bracket runs. Cloud9 always seems to have that clutch factor running through the veins of all their players, and now this is a good way to start it off.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you know, they still have some more kind of work to do, you know, to try to prove themselves. You know, they were looking like the strongest team in the league for most of the season. They were at the top of the standings, you know, have fallen off a little bit. I think a lot of people will still say, hey, you still have to show that you can do it against the big dogs. You know, they do take down Golden Guardians, but they're obviously still pretty heavily favored in this one. And people are going to be excited to see if they can do it against the winner of EG and FlyQuest, and potentially against even harder opponents after that.
Yeah, have the opportunity to watch that matchup later and see how they decide to prep into it. In Cloud9, they make a statement return to the Rift and live to see another day in the lower bracket. And to grab their thoughts, we're joining Pastrytime and the Fudge Factor himself for our Verizon post-game interview.
Thank you very much. Oh my goodness, my ears. I can't hear all that much. Thank you. I could just hear my producer tossing this interview. I am here with the man, the myth, the legend, the Factor himself. It is Fudge. Did you expect such a dominant sweep here?
Yes, I did.
I know.
But obviously, there wasn't too much confidence after our 100th series, but I'm pretty happy with how we performed. Also, how we drafted. Good job, Max Walder.
Hey, let's go, Max Walder. Obviously, like, a lot of changes happened for the team, right? You know, I was coming in pretty late. Team needing to adjust after dropping out of upper bracket. What happened in, you know, the week between that last loss in this series today?
We felt like we needed a change, and things weren't really going too well in scrims, like the first couple of days. And then after 2 days of scrims out of 5, we decided to try out Isles. And in the first day of scrims, we felt like there was a really big difference in our communication and our ability to make plans in early game. And it felt really good to play with him, you know. So I'm really happy with how he's playing as well, and also he was very nervous going into today.
I noticed that was perfect stage with you all.
But I'm really happy with how he performed, and I'm pretty happy with how we're playing right now.
Yeah, without leaking anything, how did that manifest with Isles today? Because you have a little bit of experience with him. I did check. You don't have a very long history, even in Oceania together. So how is that kind of, again, given the swiftness of the situation?
I think he actually played better than he thought. He was really tilted during the games because he kept dying randomly, but it felt like they sort of just targeted him and Berserker the entire game in every single team fight, and then me, Blaber, and Summit just carried. So I think they should give themselves more credit.
Yeah, that's fair. Always nice to hear credit for the teammates. Kind of on that note, though, we've seen a lot of different Cloud9 looks, right? We've seen lots of Summit carry games. We've seen quite a number of Blaber carry games as well. You've kind of been, sometimes literally, a support for the rest of the team. How is it now today to come on the stage and you are the carry as far as this series is concerned? How does that feel for you?
Feels very good, obviously. I felt not too much confidence in general throughout the split, but I think playing Viktor feels really nice. Playing LeBlanc when the enemy team sucks, it's pretty nice. But I still think I have a lot to improve on, for sure. I don't think that the game should have been as close as they were, honestly, even though they were kind of stomps, if I was a lot better.
Fair enough. And kind of on that note, kind of looking big picture at your career as a mid laner, which is actually quite short. If we think about your career last year as a top laner, you were not all that hot as far as community perception went, and then ended the split, you're arguably the best top laner in the league. How do you feel now about your mid lane improvement? Starting as a new mid laner to where you are now, and of course, where you can get to by the end of the split, end of the year even.
Mm-hmm. It feels very similar, honestly. It feels like I'm just doing it over and over again, where now it feels like I'm at the top, or at least close to the top in terms of mid laners. And I think by summer split, I will smash every mid laner, pretty much guaranteed.
Love the confidence. Unfortunately, summer's quite far away. You have a lot of games left to play if you're going to try to get yourself to at least Houston and playing for that title again. Cloud9 have not lost spring in 2 years. How are we feeling about the chances now in the lower bracket for Cloud9?
I have a lot of confidence to at least get to Houston. I don't think EG are very good, honestly. And I'm pretty sure Fly is even worse. So I have a lot of confidence to get to Houston. I do think 100 Thieves and TL are much better than the other teams we're going to be versing.
All right, well, Fudge, clearly it's working out so far. Best of luck in the rest of the lower bracket round. Thank you for chatting today.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we are done with the series, but not done with the day. It's time now for the Bud Light Breakdown.
Welcome to the Bud Light Breakdown. Let's break down. Let's break down. What did he just do, Raz?
He just roasted every team.
That was great.
Everyone catching
Fudge.
strays.
Why not?
And we're just talking about memorable, like this, that interview is going to be memorable. Just like, that's the highlight already of the split.
I tried to curse him.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
It did truly start with success, I think.
Yeah.
For Fudge. And it started back with Mammoth in 2017 and led to this moment.
I think the thing you were missing was sincerity. Which is funny because like a lot of the things you said in that were true.
Yeah.
Obviously, Fudge, player of the series. I'm glad that he, like Pastry asked the question and he and Fudge himself responded that it's a lot like his trajectory last year, right? Where he started, was not very highly rated in his position, improved steadily throughout the split, was one of the best in his position by the end of the split, and we see a similar trajectory here with him as a mid laner.
I think it's really important for Cloud9 moving forward as well. Yes, it was Golden Guardians. He himself kind of admitted, like, man, they suck, but this wasn't the true test. I'm waiting for the other guys. But this is the right foot stepping forward into playoffs where, okay, Summit cannot be the 1v9 carry. We need people to back him up. And this series proved we can put him on weak side and we can have Fudge be one of the people who's actually going to get us across the finish line.
Which is super important because, Raz, you and I had a pretty long discussion about this on JLXP of how throughout the end of the regular season, it got so easy for them to just win because Fudge was winning. Or sorry, because Summit was winning, and all anyone else had to do was go even or lose gracefully. But then as soon as that wasn't the case, they didn't have a way to win. And it's actually pretty impressive, even though, like I do think we'll all agree Golden Guardians made a lot of mistakes in the series. Summit didn't really do that much. He was solid, right? But he wasn't the thing driving these games towards victory, which is a totally different way for Cloud9 to win than we've seen in almost the last month.
Exactly. I think that part is going to be something that people will honestly look towards. They will look towards the fact that he's now
Those stats do look pretty good, though.
They do look good. They do look good. That Ornn performance coming through. Or at least, no, the GP performance. He's also playing the Ornn. Like, the flexibility is one thing. The other thing is something that people didn't see, just because he was just stomping lanes, right? Was the fact that they weren't working together as a team, building plans as a team. Like, we already talked about how Winsome wasn't moving along a lot with Blaber to, hey, if top lane was diveable, be able to make that plan happen. And he kind of, Fudge, you know, a little bit alluded to the idea of the comms were better now, bringing in Isles, and the idea of building early game plans has improved greatly. So, like, that's something people haven't really noticed. And it feels like if they're going to take a win versus 100 Thieves, EG, Team Liquid, it's going to be based off of those early game plans if you can't just stomp lane.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the interesting thing were the champions he played. I know off camera we were talking and you were like, wow, why hasn't he played Gangplank before? He's played 4 Gangplank games, now 6.
How much Ornn
These are the 2 he's won. He was winless on Gangplank prior to this series.
Damn.
And Ornn is one of his 7th, it's actually his 7th most played champion. It was on that list that you looked at, but it was only 11 games and a 45% win rate. So, like, win rates aren't everything, but I think the 2 different looks for him are really, really important for C9 going forward as well.
Yeah, I think the fact that the stats still look really good, it's not like the MVP, like, dominating 1v9 stats, but you don't want that to be the only way you can play. So, like, yeah, you can give him GP, put him weak side, he'll crew a 20 CS lead, 15 on his own, and then he'll be there for team fights. And you don't need to, like, send every resource on the map up his way.
I feel like Berserker is the one who got all of the resources, but it was like Golden Guardian's resources, trying to kill him the whole game. Fudge even mentioned that, like, we saw Isles. Fudge said Isles felt tilted during the game, and these numbers are going to be very low for what we're used to seeing from Berserker, but that's because I'd say 80% of the Nocturne ults were going directly on his head, pretty much fight after fight.
Yes, there was a specific time, I remember in one of the earlier games, I think it was game 1, where he opened up with MF ulti, had to immediately cancel it in flash because Pridestalker was going straight in his direction. So that was just kind of the beat of the series, was them trying to get easy kills on a flashless AD carry, you know, or a support that's pretty squishy as well.
And I also like just the duo procs percent being higher. It was around 45% with Winsome. With Isle, they're playing more lane dominant. You can see that reflected in their picks as well. And another one of these angles where we're like, okay, maybe you can actually play through your bot lane now. And that's what they're going to need to throw curveballs. Because you know, when he's talking about these other top teams, FBI, Hansama, Bjergsen, excuse me, Abadage, they can carry from every single position. And Cloud9 needs to become a team kind of like that.
Yeah, this is one thing I really wanted to see. I said it at top of day. I wanted to see how they treat the 2v2 with Isles. Like, people forget that Isles was actually such a sought-after support initially. Like, he and Raze were rated as one of the best bot lanes in Oceania. And I don't think, again, like, he was put in a tough position in this series because of how they were targeting bot lane, but I did really appreciate what they did in their 2v2, both in draft and in lane. And going forward, this is another really interesting thing that C9 can hopefully build on and play around for future series.
Yeah, I mean, even kind of adding on to it, he is a pretty damn good mage player, just from how he's played and performed, Enchanters as well, in Academy and Oceania. So I think that's just something now that they can add into their arsenal if they want to be able to play lane dominant bot lane or just heavy scaling with like a Yuumi or something.
I think we're going to be seeing a lot more Isles, right? Based on the interview and based on the results. Well, we'll see. It depends. If they have to keep winning to see more Isles, and then we'd have to.
They could lose next week, and then you don't see them very much.
Then you don't see it much. Anyway, don't miss a second of the LCS playoffs, and Grubhub is giving you a chance to experience the LCS finals live in Houston. Use code PLAYOFFSXP on any orders $15 and up, and you'll have the chance to win amazing prizes with a grand prize package that includes the latest products from Roccat, along with tickets to see the best LCS teams fight for the spring title, April 23rd and 24th. Blaber is going to be the one who delivered the win today with this fight.
Yeah, I mean, the Lee Sin for him, it was just a pick that I think the biggest takeaway from going up against 100 Thieves. Hey, if Closer can do it, I can too.
I mean, to be fair, this fight did not start well for them. You know, multiple members of his team getting engaged on, kind of blown up. Looked like Golden Guardians working their way back into the fight. And then I think Blaber does a great job turning this around. Good target prioritization. I've always been impressed with his team fighting when he finally gets involved here. snipes the Q onto the back line. Weave it through.
Yeah,
there
I
it is.
thought, yeah, the play coming up where he ended up,
Flash to
here
take
we
it.
go. That's where I was just like, I don't know if he just went in to kill himself, and he did not. He had complete control over the backside of this team fight too. He very quietly had 3 like good games because everyone else like around him was obviously like Fudge kind of laid it out for us, right? Like while GG was targeting bot lane, they were pushing bot lanes, but Berserker and Isles were targeted in fights. You had your 2 solo lanes carrying. And Blaber was just like very quietly good and consistent throughout.
Yeah, I wonder if we didn't give Blaber enough credit.
Yeah.
He's like, he is a 2-time MVP, and I think sometimes sometimes I'm guarding against like this guy was so good in the past. I don't just want to assume that he's the reason they're winning again. I think part of that was like even with Bjergsen this year.
Yeah.
It's like one of the LCS ghosts was like, oh yeah, he's just kind of doing his job. Because Blaber was just doing his job.
Not me, man. I love Blaber. I'll hype him up whenever. Don't test me. Yeah, he was really good today.
Don't test me.
Don't test me. He'll first pick Lee Sin blue side, and he'll No, I won't.
Okay, one more series win for Cloud9 and they'd be going to finals. So tickets are available for finals weekend in Houston, April 23rd and April 24th. LOLesports.com has a lot more info, or you can head directly to Ticketmaster, or you see that QR code right there.
Scan it.
Yeah, I don't need to explain how QR codes work. I didn't know how they worked for the longest time.
Wait,
but they're very simple.
Let Chat know on Twitter if you understand how QR codes work, and if you don't, he will personally explain it to you.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it here.
I don't know if I'm a fan or not a fan of every restaurant now just having QR codes for their menus.
I love it, but it hurts your phone battery. Here's the bracket. Cloud9, they're fighting another day. They will play the winner of EG versus FlyQuest, which happens tomorrow, and then they will be the Sunday match next weekend for that winner. Of course, the Monday match next week is going to be TL versus 100 Thieves. We don't yet know exactly who's going to finals, but we have a closer idea. It's not Golden Guardians.
Exactly, and hey, that's a rematch of that tiebreaker that they had at the end of the season. So FlyQuest is definitely going to want revenge on that one.
Yeah, looking ahead to tomorrow's series, FlyQuest has also served up some hype, so check it out. Thank you very much, FlyQuest, for providing that video. Nice highlight montage of what they've done so far in the split. Of course, they face off against EG tomorrow. I'm not going to be on the show tomorrow. I'm going to say EG is probably the favorites, but I've been wrong before, like today when I predicted Golden Guardians.
When you predicted the underdog to win.
Yeah. So
you learned the wrong lesson.
I learned the wrong lesson.
Pick the favorites.
That's always pick the favorites. It's more fun that way. That's going to do it from us here. So on behalf of myself, the Cashers, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we will see you tomorrow for more LCS. Good night.
Cloud9 and Golden Guardians taking off. I'm LeTigress. This is Azael. Are you hyped?
Oh, it's the Renekton hover. We don't know if it's gonna get logged.
Whenever there's fans here, I can never
Look at
have
his
faith
face.
in any hover.
Look at Fudge's face. He knows what he's doing.
Blaber goes in, kicks back Licorice. Licorice is down. Olleh down too. The Chaos Storm continues to follow upon Ablazeolive, who flashes away from the Death Ray. But Blaber, even though he connects the kick, he cannot go just yet. Does he want to? A triple kill from Fudge.
Look, Nocturne, yes.
He has GA though.
I can do it.
Good. Leona flash too, they're both inting.
I'm fine. Look, Viktor.
Nice.
Look here.
Slowly. Gwen no flash, she has Gwen.
Look one, okay? Just look one.
Slowly Fudge.
Yeah.
Go back.
Nice.
They're hoping to just duck out of their No, they go on back. Blaber blasting down. Fudge getting the credit for that one. And now Licorice, he's wanting to maybe take somebody down with and throws down the needlework. The Herald missed right here to keep some kind of security, but it's not enough. Pridestalker going into the back to land onto Summit. Goes and gets resurrected immediately after, but he's just targeted by Cloud9, which allows the isolation over here. Licorice and Ablazeolive completely separated. Blaber just wants one more hit onto Olive. Plucks the tails from his feather, and there you go. Cloud9 coming on through. Olleh, he's in some trouble right now. Fudge still nice and healthy. Does get sliced a little bit by Lost, who has increased his range. Gets knocked up here by Licorice, who comes into the backside. Blaber going and isolating multiple members of Golden Guardians. Olleh is his next target. It's gotta be a Bud Light Ice for Cloud9.